Coming up on Skullboi, if my voice sounds terrible, it's because I'm an AI trained on Bryan Berry's voice. A robot will never be human, and AI will never make art. Now, back to art made by actual humans.
And then Space Channel 5 came out at a time where I was just old enough to get into gay clubs. Like a real nerd on the dance floor, I used to bust out Space Channel 5 dance moves from this game. I hate him. Don't use that loosely generally, but I hate him. I hate what he has done to my country. But I can also recognize why you have a Sega Dreamcast.
I did not. In a video game console of all time. What a date to pick, you know?
Yep.
And it was just, it was like a cultural moment. It's just shocking how it came out and how it didn't kind of, I guess, maybe fulfill the promise.
No, it did. We just weren't ready. It was too ahead of its time. Bryan, this is your jam. We're going to get into the video game systems of 1999.
Let's go.
All right, there were two that were released here in North America. The Neo Geo Pocket Color. Vaguely remember. Everyone knew what a Neo Geo was. And I know this is not the Neo Geo system, but I don't think anyone knew anyone who had the Neo Geo. At least not. At least not in the neighborhood I grew up in.
I gotta be honest. I didn't know about the Neo Geo.
Okay. Yeah, the Neo Geo is around in like Sega Genesis times. It was like it was like $700-800 or something back then. Games were like $100. Nothing now, but back then it was like, yeah. It was like the urban myth. Did it really exist? Did it not? All right. But did you have a Sega Dreamcast?
I did not.
Oh.
For some reason I was all in the hype for it. I think everyone was. I think you wrote about this, that the marketing was probably one of the best marketing for a video game console of all time.
$9.99.
What a date to pick, you know?
Yep.
And it was just it was like a cultural moment. It's just shocking how it came out and how it didn't kind of, I guess, maybe fulfill the promise.
No, it did. We just weren't ready. It was too ahead of its time.
You're right. It was.
I mean, I really believe it was just too ahead of its time. It had like the modem, and not even every house could get the internet yet. There are certain parts of the world that I don't even think had the internet like at all. So it was a very forward thinking piece of equipment. Unfortunately for Sega, they had the Sega Genesis, and then there was something, not the
Saturn.
The Saturn, right? And that did not do very well, and that was not good. There's a lot, like the 3DO came around, the Jaguar.
I do remember those, yeah.
None of them were really that great. 3DO had a game on it. Oh God, I'm blanking on it.
Is it
Young gay kid? No, it was like some lady with a plumber, and the whole thing, she liked this plumber, and the plumber wanted to try to get her out, but there was like shots of him like in a towel and leaving. And I've done research. She was actually like a gay actor somewhere or something, but it was like a little bit of a gay awakening moment on the 3DO. I used to work at a video store that you could rent the 3DO, and they had that game, so I used to bring it home and watch. Yeah.
Watch.
But you know, it had a lady in a tiny robe, so it was fine for a 16-year-old dude or however old it was. Anyway, the Sega Dreamcast, man, I love that thing so much. I am not good at this game, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. That thing was bonkers crazy. And I know there are people in the world who are really into fighting games, so they could probably really get into this stuff, right? I am not that person. I just love, and it was like so many X-Men. I'm a huge comic nerd. But yeah, that game was crazy. And then Space Channel 5 came out at a time where I was just old enough to get into gay clubs. I had to wait until like midnight to get in because you have to go after they would serve alcohol. I don't know how my night would just begin at midnight, but there we are. Like a real nerd. Maybe this is why there's no one hanging out their best friend's ride trying to holler at me, because on the dance floor in a gay club, I used to bust out Space Channel 5 dance moves from this game.
Wait, you watched the choreography? You learned the choreography?
The game was like a dance game where you had to do to the beat, and but yeah, I don't remember the character's name off the top of my head anymore. But I would learn that choreo and try to bust it out.
That's amazing.
Oh,
I hope there's just some other geeky gay somewhere that saw that and he wanted to go holler at you, but maybe it was like, maybe now it's not the right time.
Oh my god! And I used to have these white Doc Martens that would like light up under the black lights. Oh my god. Oh, I'm not embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed back then either, clearly. Whatever. But I loved the Dreamcast. Like the remote that remote was poorly designed, but then it had like that little thing that you could pop out that was also like almost like a Tamagotchi, depending on what game you had.
It was just like a memory card slash had a screen that you could take care. Or it could be whatever the game designed it to be. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was the coolest thing. Mm-hmm. So cool. Oh my god.
I think it wasn't. It came out a year later, but it was the Resident Evil Code Veronica. They had it where you could your health meter would be on that little screen. So in case when you're playing, you could just look down at the controller to see.
And that game is coming. They're just announced, right? A remake of that game.
Yes, I can't wait.
Okay, and here we go. Mr. PlayStation himself. The PS1 was around back then, and the Nintendo 64. So you had already mentioned at the beginning of this, leaving the Nintendo world for the PlayStation world.
I didn't leave.
Right around this time. Okay, yes.
I expanded my library, I guess, or my sensibilities of what games could be. I think 99, just all the games that I'm. So the first thing I remember was it didn't come out in 99. It came out the very end of 98. It was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
And another remake they're coming out this year.
Another one, in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
But that came out, I think, in November of 98. And so that game lasted me into 99. And it was one of those quintessential moments in games that made me fall in love with it. Then on the PlayStation side, it was really one of the things that I want to talk about is Final Fantasy VIII.
Okay.
And because I came to PlayStation a little late, I missed the whole Final Fantasy VII bandwagon. I know how popular it was. And at the time, I was not big into RPGs, especially JRPGs or RPGs made, in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just wasn't into them at all for some reason. But I got sucked into the hype for Final Fantasy VIII because after Final Fantasy VII came out, the cries and like the hype for the next Final Fantasy from Square was huge. It was high, and especially the art style was I guess you could say it was a little bit more mature. Like the characters, instead of having them look more stylized and animated, they looked a little bit more realistic. They had this kind of edgier side to them. And I just fell in. I was like,
Cloud in that one?
Cloud was in 7.
Okay.
Squall is the main character of 8. So I played that game, and it completely made me fall in love with JRPGs and RPGs in general. I specifically remember it coming out in the summer, and that was my summer. It was the game where I'd wake up at 8 a.m., I'd play it, eat food at some points, and then go to bed at 10 p.m. just playing that game all day.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I love it.
Yeah, and I just fell in love with it. Just the stories, the characters, the fighting, the combat system, the open worldness.
Do you think, was there a game that made you like, I want to do this someday?
It's fun. The fun thing is like I feel like back then, no one.
It wasn't okay.
Like the idea of it being a job, not even in my head. I don't think it was in anyone's head. It's such, especially back then when a lot of the more big hits from video games came from Japan.
Okay.
It just felt like this. We were so removed. It was almost like just a gift that we got from Japan that we just got to play with. And then we were just like, give us more, please, Japan. Please, Nintendo and Square and Sony. So I feel like just back then, it was never even a thought. It wasn't until I was much older out of college that I was like, oh, wait a minute, this could be a job.
Okay. All right. Conversation for another day. All right. Question. N64 was out then too. N64 was pretty rad. Rogue Squadron, was that the name on that game? What was the Star Wars, like the fighter pilot game on that was like impossible
Rogue
to play?
Squadron. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, another game that came out that year was Episode 1 Racer. One of the best.
Yeah, another impossible game to play.
Oh, I love that game.
Oh my God. I can't wait for Galactic Racer here like next month, right? I think it's coming out in August.
I think October.
October? Okay. I don't know. Whenever Galactic Racer comes out, super stoked for it. Looks rad.
It's in your blood. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. The nightmare continues, only from Capcom.
You have a Switch 2. We've had conversations about the Switch before.
Yep.
I enjoy my Switch 2. I don't know if my Switch 2 is hitting the way that I would like my Switch 2 to be hitting. And I feel like that's kind of the general consensus among everyone, right? It's good. We all know it's good.
Really?
Pokapia is the thing that like set the world on fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot of hours into that game to only realize like I don't think I'm a cozy game player.
Wait. It took you a lot of time.
Like a lot of hours to realize. I'm just like, I don't think this is for me. I think I can understand the joy of it, but if I think it's just like I have other like if I'm in that vibe mode, I'll either draw or design a poster or edit videos or like that's like my relaxation thing. Go hop onto Logic and play with like loops or things like that. Like that's my jam. So it just it's like, oh, because I was like, oh, that will be great, because I don't love game mechanics in Pokemon games very much, but I love Pokemon. Like I love the idea of Pokemon. Character design, like the character designs are just so fun and crazy. I was like, oh my God, this will be like the greatest little game. I just get to see and hang out with Pokemon all the time, and I get to play as Ditto. Like, come on, that's rad. And it's fun. It's cool. But I think I probably sunk 12 hours into that game.
I mean, that is not that's a lot of hours. Like that's a good amount.
It is.
That's like you played it. You played the game and you got you got enough out of it, and you can just put it down, Yeah,
and you know what? It's the kind of game that if it like in 5 years, I'm like, you could pick it up and play it again.
Mm-hmm.
Be great. Okay, but I don't know. Maybe Ocarina of Time will help. But the Nintendo 64 did not do what PlayStation did better than Sega Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, Nintendo has always been the system, like in the 90s, earlier 90s, I was really a Super Nintendo kid, but I wanted to be a Genesis kid, but I was not cool enough to be a Genesis kid, like marketing wise. Like I wasn't that kid.
Just as a side, you had the better. I don't want to say better.
Oh, I had both. I was lucky
the
to have
opposite.
both.
Where,
Okay.
And now and later in life, I was like, I wish I was the SNES kid and not the Genesis.
Okay.
Well, I love the Genesis, but I feel like there was a huge gap of amazing games that I just did not play at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the SNES era of games.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. Now I feel fairly lucky. I was quite the like toy flipper.
Mm-hmm.
I would go hunting for toys at yard sales. I knew my stuff, and I would flip them for money and sell. Like I would put together the whole play set, and then like would run ads for toy collectors. It's pretty great. So I used to be able to like earn my way into some cool stuff back then. Anyways, all right. Anyway, Nintendo, I feel like Nintendo's thing is it's always kind of silly. I know people talk about it always has a gimmick, but maybe that really is the thing. But for me, it was games that didn't ever take themselves too seriously. And the Switch 2 has really leaned into third party, which I know was like the critique of the Switch that didn't have enough third party.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm feeling like the Switch 2 is missing like some quirkiness, which feels like a very 90s thing. 90s was like the last quirky time. Like 99, I should say, because we got through the grunge where it was too cool. The Sega Genesis, like it's too cool to be quirky and like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like
mm-hmm.
You're a hedgehog with an attitude. And now we're a little more hopeful for the future, so maybe we can get a little silly again. I mean, clearly Cher had a #1 hit, so like can't be that serious.
Yeah, I mean, like, another game in '99 for Nintendo was Smash Brothers.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, and it revolution. It created a genre in of itself. And so much has spawned from just that one game. Even the marketing from that game. Do you remember the commercial for that game?
Yes.
What was the song? What was the song? It was like an old 60s or 70s.
I don't remember.
But it was
I just remember
all the characters in their mascot outfits, and then they trip one another and they start fighting.
Oh yeah, like the box art was so bad. All that old Nintendo box art is really kind of bad, and that's what makes it. Actually, all that art from like the 80s is so great, and it's kind of bad now.
How dare you?
I know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Some of it's like kind of not good. Like we were talking about 2B last night. Like I was watching some Pac-Man. The animation is not great, but there's something so charming about how not great it is that I love. Yeah. Anyways,
there's a lot of stuff back then that would feel a little bit more abstract, you know?
Yeah.
And something about that back then, we have to like kind of fill in the gaps. And we bring our creativity to it in our mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a different aesthetic than, I don't know. God, I feel like I pissed teachers off at the beginning of this. Beyonce wasn't that great. Britney Spears not that great. Now Nintendo art from the 80s and 90s not so great. Okay. Well, we are running. This has been a fun conversation. We were talking about 1999. It was wonderful. We talked about pop culture of 1999. In 8th grade, what was the feeling? There was a lot of fear in 99, which I wrote about in my little article. There was a lot of fear that the world was going to collapse. It didn't. Some might argue it took 26 years for it to collapse, and maybe we're dealing with it now. But I mean, I was an adult on my own, but I was a young enough adult on my own that I had no idea about the world around me yet. Because you got to remember, right? Like when we're on our own for the first time, you're in such a little bubble that like 2 miles around you, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I've never had to go grocery shopping before. Like the anxiety of like writing a check for the first time in front of someone at the grocery store with a long line of people behind you. It was like too adulting. Okay. So in 8th grade, was there fears, or were you in the same kind of, it's junior high, I'm in a safe little bubble of I can only worry about video games and scrubs?
No scrubs.
Mom.
No scrubs.
Well, I mean, another thing to talk about in '99 was Columbine, and also just one of those core memories where I just remember, I think a lot of kids back then were like, a lot of us were latchkey kids,
Yep.
so our parents were working, and so I would remember I would come home from school, and I'd turn the TV on, and I would immediately just like pull out my homework, and I think I just had the TV on and just do homework. Maybe I think Oprah was on around that time. I don't know. I think I just put it on.
Used to be on at 3 p.m. here.
Yes. Yeah. But then I would just remember the news of it happening.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I think it's just one of those moments where kind of one of the first of its kind, I guess, and it definitely, it's so weird. I can't imagine. It's so sad to see kids today where it's just so normal to them. But back then it was just like this shocking thing, especially in a teenage mind. It's just one of those things where like we couldn't process it in a way.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anyone, there wasn't the network that there is today to help kids with this whole process and like to talk about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, maybe there was, like I had just said, and I don't want this to sound super insincere, but I was in my little bubble. Like, I don't know if it had the same weight for me at 20 years old. I was so wrapped in my own brain about being gay, and I don't think I had a world outside of that at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I look back now, and like the kids are so numb to it that the drills are just there. They know what to do, which is probably good because God forbid something happens. Hopefully more lives will be saved because it is just ingrained in them, and they will go into fight or flight and they will know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But now as an educator, like I think about it in such a different way. And as a father, like, oh my God, like I can't imagine being in 8th grade actually, and like thinking about that, because that was very much your world. Like that was your world, and that, yeah, I can't. What a like a defining moment, probably for people. Like this is like last week we were talking about. Like I think there are times when there's an age gap that means more and means less sometimes, and that's a gap that is probably just different. I mean, I don't want to say I was unaware, but it was just didn't hit me the same way.
You're out of
as
school,
it would have.
right? You're experiencing. Your life was ahead of you.
Yeah, and I hadn't even started college yet. Like I was just living on my own. So yeah, like school was way in the rearview mirror. It wasn't even my world anymore. Yeah, it's
It definitely
That would be interesting to talk to people.
It tainted. I remember it that after that happened, it kind of tainted a lot of things we talked about already. Like, I think one thing in particular was the Matrix. Like, I remember just this display of gun violence in that movie. I think there was a lot of censure or this fear of like media, movies, video games that had guns in it had a different vibe after that. Like, it kind of just colored the way that society looked at some of the things that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, back then, the media, like a huge part of it, blamed Doom. I remember Doom was like such the center of those conversations, and it was video games' fault that things like that happened. Which it is not. You know, right. I'm like, we were younger, like, and people back then didn't grow up with video games either. So like now, sometimes now that I am older and there are things that like I can't really comprehend same way that a kid like my kids do, you know, I can maybe understand how some parents might be a little fearful that would warp some brains. But video games are not real. No kid is thinking that any of it is real. No kid is running around Fortnite thinking that in any way, shape, or form it's real. Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be outliers out there, but like generally, like, no, it, I don't know. Yeah. It's just like, yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Just,
yeah.
It was, and it also, the weird thing about back then, it almost felt like it was this isolated event, you know,
because it's sadly not.
It's sadly not.
Yeah. Cause now we don't even, it doesn't, things like that don't get the same level of airtime on the news anymore, which is heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. You know, I think for us, Pulse was probably, as queer people, was another thing that like did not affect the outside world the same way it probably affected queer people. You know, and I can think back now. I mean, I've been talking about a gay club all of the time today because of just the year, right? But like in the 90s, as I've already said, when 1999 was around, I could not get married. I could not have children. I could not have been a teacher. I now know I could have been a teacher, but back then someone told me no. So it's like, oh, no, you can't. Like that was the one place that you could go to that was yours and you were safe, like the Matrix, right? You would walk into a gay bar or a gay dance club and you could be safe there. No one was going to yell at you. You didn't have to worry about getting beaten up. You didn't have to worry about a police officer following around because of whatever they were going to do, because that's what it was like back then. Yeah. And so I think, yeah. Ooh.
I mean, and also that's just heavy. As for me as a kid going to middle school, it was, and any kid at that time, again, like, I know like being a kid during those times can be tough. There's a lot of bullying and everything, but I don't think no one would expect that you should be fearful of being shot going to school. You know, that was just not a thing. And I think after that, it kind of cracked it open a little bit. And then every other occurrence after that just busted it wide open. But it was definitely, it was shocking in the way that, wow, this can happen, you know?
I mean, my son and my middle child will go to that school next year. He's got to walk through a metal detector every single day. Like that is just so crazy to me. But to him, that's all he kind of knows. It's very weird. It's very sad. It's really, really sad.
Wow. Yeah. You saying that, like, yes, I think after that time, after that happened, we had even in middle school, we had them installed. And then also,
did you? Okay.
We couldn't have baggy jeans. Like if you didn't have a belt, they would give you a belt or give you like a twine to wrap around your pants. Because there it was, and then also the clear book bag that started right around then. You know, oh my gosh, all these things that it changed. Going to school changed after that, even if it was only the one time at that time. It's still, there was like this huge shift of the way we thought about school.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, I watch movies with my kids now and there's like lockers and things like that. And I don't think lockers in general are around as much as they were anywhere. I mean, in high school, there's so much computer work now too that negated lockers in a way, but Columbine was what started all of that. Was, you know what I mean? And yeah, you're right. Like the clear backpacks and concerts. The only other, 9/11, unfortunately, just a few years later, would do that same thing, and the world was never the same again, ever. It's crazy. All right. Well, I don't want to end a podcast on that, even though it was very important. Now I'm like, thinking. There was a lot of hope, though, in 1999. There was hope for the new millennium. I think I mentioned that maybe I used the wrong word about a mistrust in the internet, but the internet was so new, people didn't know what to do with it, like at all. Like it was just, but I think the turn of the millennium, the computer was going to save us all, which is what the Matrix warned us is really warning us about, right? In a lot of ways. And like I said, 26 years later, here we are. D-Day is possibly going to happen. But I think there was a lot of hope. And I think like on a very personal level, the internet really was going to free everyone. I think as a young gay kid, and having AOL chat rooms to talk to other gay people in a way that I was allowed to, that you couldn't do anywhere else. Like you just, at least in the middle of the suburbs and probably most of the country, like you didn't see gay people. They weren't holding hands. Like we could pick each other out. To this day, I feel like gay people still we know each other within the second of seeing one another. Like, right? We all just know we're also gay, and there's always a smile or a nod, always. Like, I see you.
It's a fun game.
Right? Yeah, it's great. It's the greatest thing, especially in the lake.
We're just like, oh.
Especially when you live in the burbs and you spent like 20 years in the middle of like a downtown area where it was like gay people everywhere, and now you live in the burbs, and I'm like, oh my God, I can go 2 weeks and not see one of my people. But I think for me, there was so much, it was going to be different. And thank God it really did get different. And I still think I think the internet, I still believe that we have a lot of room to go. The internet is dividing people, social media in particular. I should say, really, it's social media that is like literally dividing people. That I'm hopeful that same social media here in time can start to unite people in a way that I feel like early internet really did bring communities together. Because finally, we weren't states away with another gay person. You could be in a small town and go talk to another gay person that you would never see any other way. And there was a lot of community, I think, brought from that. My oldest son, last night, we were hanging out in the pool, and he was asking about Barack Obama. Not that this has anything to do with 1999, but with hope. Hello, Barack Obama. And he was asking if he was really that great of a president. And I was like, I don't know if any president is ever wonderful. I don't know if that's a job that they can ever be perfect. I think there's always going to be things that they do wrong. But what I can say is when Barack Obama was president, the world or our country felt happier. And I'm heartbroken that all three of you have really grown up between Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. And we're really angry. And we've been angry for a really long time. And I'm heartbroken as a parent that that's the world that you guys are growing up in. I wish you had been able to grow up in a time that was less divisive.
It's so true because there's something about even the 90s where I was watching a video that was talking about the feeling of the 90s, and even then, like the transition from going from the 80s to the 90s, there's clips from all these TV shows and movies, and they're like, come on, it's the 90s, why are you doing like the night, like people use like the 90s as if we're progressing, we're moving forward. Before the internet, it was something about the 90s was about leaving behind old baggage and picking each other up and moving forward. And so that mentality kind of hit at the very end of the decade with 99, where this feeling of hopefulness of what I think we just took maybe this naive feeling now, but like we took this feeling of hopefulness and kind of combined it with our thoughts of what the internet could bring. And I think that's what just to add what you were saying, like, yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Pink Milk, I don't know if I'd feel this way. But I know that Pink Milk really brought a community together, and it was actually a really, really great place. And that's what made it so hard to leave. So, even though I spent half this episode talking about being gay, like maybe having something that is Star Wars is pretty universal, but more universal, talking about these things of the hope of the early internet. I mean, if there's any feeling that I hope is that like podcasting, YouTube, I really believe in that stuff a lot. And I really believe that the world is hungry for community. There's a part of me I really don't like Donald Trump. I hate him. Don't use that loosely generally, but I hate him. I hate what he has done to my country. But I can also recognize why he is here. And so, like, I always try to carry that too. I might hate him, but I can kind of understand what he represents. And there's aspects of what he represents that I can even get behind. I think there are aspects to him being here that I can stand behind. Just wish it was behind a different person. But like, I think out of all of this, I hope that my children get to spend their young adult life in a much happier world than that they had to experience in the younger one. And I think that's part of the power of social media when it's used correctly. I think that's the power of having a podcast. It's the power of YouTube. It's the power of what technology has made people. Anyone can have a voice now and can put that out in the world. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk here once or twice a week or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And like, hopefully bring some good out there and share that with other people and use the internet to attract people from all over the place that no way would we have ever met. And then clearly we are now friends because of the internet and the podcast, right? So it's really, to me, like, that is what Skullboi, I hope, is the feeling that grows out of this as time goes on. You know what I mean? Of like, there's real power in the early internet and we can kind of bring it back if we want to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I feel like 99 was all about society, like us as a society kind of looking at each other and going and literally just looking at each other going like, we're about to end something pretty, we're about to end and go past a threshold into a new era. And the idea back then was like, let's all just do this together. Let's get ready. Like, we think about it, like if you look at the list of the movies, it might be one of the greatest years in movie cinema history. the caliber there's so much we didn't talk about, but
1987 too. Another one.
Like it's something about maybe leaving a decade, entering the next one. So I don't know, maybe we kind of think about like, oh, we're rounding to the end of something, and we're forward thinking into how we can make the next one better,
100%. Like, I think ending a decade, by definition, you're going to reflect as an individual, as society, as a world. You're going to reflect. A new year is one of the few things that like the entire globe celebrates together, right? Minus the time changes, right? But like that is like a world that goes and experiences that together, and there's a consciousness with all of us living beings thinking about those kinds of things together that is going to have some sort of shift on things. And the beginning of things, it's almost always hopeful. We all start going, okay, well, these are the things that I learned, and these are the things that I'm going to do, right? And then you put that on a new millennium, and that just like exploded that into like something unbelievable in a way, right? So it was really cool. Like, I think there was a part of the 90s like that was very, I almost want to say it was like a poserish type thing of like, we're really cool, we're like, ditch the yuppies, the 80s was too polished, screw credit card debt, all that, right? Like, but then like the millennium was coming, and all of a sudden, like, we'll get into the Y2K, but then like it was like the 80s almost all over again. You know what I mean? It was like so over the top and extra that like we got it out of our system. And I don't think, optimistic me, like I think humans are hopeful people. We want to improve things. Like, we are tool makers. At the end of the day, that is what we are. We want to improve things. I don't think human beings as a species are like a negative species. I don't think we are pessimistic. We do some pretty terrible, violent things. Life is violent. But in general, I think we're like, we want to improve things. That is to the core of who we are. So innovation is all about improvement, right?
Yep. We're a creative
and there are no
species.
other. Yeah, 100%. So that's great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, sir. I hope you enjoyed listening to this. I lied to you at the beginning of the episode. This episode is running long. We're going to split this into 2 parts. So we will have episodes 4, 5, and 6. We're going to break down Acts 1, 2, and 3 of The Matrix. It's going to be a really good time. I think so.
I cannot
load up, and yeah. We'll talk about, maybe, who knows? Who knows how we're going to break this down? Bryan already said how he's going to watch it. I'm probably going to really like hyper fixate on watching it as like maybe even like a specific Twitter lens, like because Twitter just became its own thing over this last like 3 years, and it like literally took social media and Donald Trump and put it all into one ball and literally put an X in just like 2 spears and daggers right through a little cute little bird, and was like, we're gonna kill it.
Yeah, and another one's
and that's what they did.
I'll watch it with, I want to watch it with this lens of how our attention has been co-opted by companies, and we're literally, we are like with how we are in the Matrix, but our Matrix is phones. There's something that we are connected into with this all the time. So that's one thing I know that's going to be the forefront when I watch it again.
Man, we will not do shorts. We will not do shorts on this channel. I've done shorts in the past. I've done, but I think shorts are so bad. I do not think they'll be around forever, because I think we're going to realize how bad they are for you. And so I know, as a content creator maker, I am missing out on things just by not posting to shorts and to reels, but like I am so anti that I can't possibly contribute to someone else's doom scrolling. Like it's just so bad. It is so bad for you. It is literally what is tethering us to our phones. I think more than anything is just Facebook Reels, Instagram things, and TikTok. Like
it's going to be the way
glued to our phone.
The way of the cigarette smoking industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to. I feel like it might be like that. Where
30
years from now, we're going to be like, oh my gosh, you grew up with shorts.
There's going to be like our kids. You know, I'm sorry if I offend anyone listening, but like, you know, we can look at like the people with little lines all around their lips, right? They were smokers. There's going to be people, like you said, in 30 years from now, there's going to be a generation of people with like this thumb that is just like at a 90-degree angle, and they're going to know that you were a doom scroller.
Where you put your
there's like an indent
on your pinky.
Yeah. After a meteorite hits our planet and we are wiped out, except for the few of us we evolved to something else, they're going to be digging up, and future anthropologists will be like figuring out why there's this indent all of a sudden in this hyper specific like 15-year period. Human beings had this like indent in their pinkies. Yes.
Amazing.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, wherever that may be. Make sure you go to skullboi.com, subscribe to the newsletter, keep in touch, leave a comment below. Like I said, the whole point of this is community. And so if you do not engage with us, we don't know you're here. And we want to know that you are here. All right, Bryan. Until next week, probably, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Next week, he and I will be talking about The Matrix. All of you watching it, listening to it, will hear that in a few more weeks from now. And until then, have a good one, and we will see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.